So now let's look at the scratch screen layout. First, I have the menu bar, which you can see here. That's where you have file, edit, tutorials, and others. If you click on this file, for example, you have new. New is when you want to create a new project. So you use this new. But if you want to load an existing project, that's to say that possibly there's a project you are working on, you have saved it, and you want to continue from where you stop, so you use load from your computer. Then if you want to save a project, you're working on the project already and you want to save it so that you can make reference to it or open it later, then you take save to my computer. And remember, this is offline, you get. So for online, you may be able to save online as well. So next is the stage. Now, if we look at our sprite, currently the sprite is as rotated facing upward, possibly because of what I did, kind of. So normally, this is how the sprite will look like when you load your, or when you open the sprite newly. So now this stage is just like a TV screen where you see all actions that has been scripted for the sprite. I mean, the actions that has been programmed for the sprite. So you see it here. That's to say that if, for example, we've created a code for the sprite to move, so by the time we are running the program so that we see the movement, that will be displayed on this screen. So we'll call it the stage. Then the next is the sprite list. Below this stage, which you can see here, is the sprite list. Now, this sprite list contains the sprites, the numbers of sprites you are working with. So currently we are working with just one. If I should add one sprite, so you see that we have two, right? So we have sprite 1, we have Andy sprite, you have another sprite. Fine. So if, for example, I want to work with this first sprite, I have to click on it. And if I want to work with this one, I have to click on it. So those are the two sprites. So now from here, you can remove a sprite, you can rename a sprite, and you can also add a sprite just like I did now. So for example, if you want to rename a sprite, you can just click on the sprite and change the name from here. So I can type Bob and the sprite becomes Bob, right? So same thing with the other. So whatever you want to do to your sprite, you must come to this sprite list to select that particular sprite and then take your action. Then next, we can also reduce the size of our sprite here. For example, I can put something like 50 and you see that the sprite will be reduced. So you can also increase it up or you can change the direction. So that is the sprite list. Then next we have the block palette. Now the block palette is where we have the blocks. The blocks are what we use to give instruction to the sprite. Now we have the blocks are now categorized into motion, looks, sound, events, control, sensing, operators, variables, my blocks. So now if you click on motion, these are the blocks under motion. Then if you go to looks, these are the blocks under looks. If you go to sound, you see that, and you notice that each categories have different colors, right? So they make them colorful. So now if you want, for example, if you want to work with motion, you just need to select motion, or maybe we'll have something like this. Now currently these are not for motion. You just click on motion and all the blocks under motion will appear. Move your pointer on top of the block you want to use. Maybe we want to turn our sprite 15 degrees, or maybe we just want to move it, we want it to move to the right. So you just drag this one, put it here and click. So you see that it's moving 80 steps, right? So that's just it for the block palette. Then next we have the coding area, which is also called the script area. Now this is the coding area. This is where you write your code. So, did I say write? No. This is where you define your code by dragging the blocks on this area, right? So For example, we want this sprite to move, and we'll use this move block. We put it here, right? If we want it to rotate, we'll bring the rotate block, we put it here. So this is our script area. So if I click on this one now, you see that the sprite will rotate. If I bring this other one here and click on it, it will rotate anti-clockwise. Then if we want it to move, we use this, right? So those are the blocks, and that is how these are the blocks, and we use them on this script area. Then next is the green flag and the stop button. These are very important. If you look at my screen, you see green flag and you see the stop button. So when you are done with all your scripts, because you have different scripts, when you have done with all the code blocks and you want to run the entire project, then you come to this green flag, click go, and you start running. Then if you want to stop it, you come to stop, because sometimes you want to run to see how the project look like, and when you are running the project you may see some error, so you may want to stop it and correct those errors. So this is what you do exactly. Then last but not the least is the tabs. If you look at above the block palette, you have 3 tabs. You have code, which we are currently in. That's why you can see this block, the code blocks here. Then you have the costume tab. The costume tab, you can use it to like adjust or like modify your sprite. Currently this sprite is selected, that's why you have it here. If we select the other sprite, you have it here. So you can change some features about all this, but you can change some of the colors, some of the fields, or some other things you may think of. You can even draw some things in addition, right? That's a costume. Then you have the sound. For the sound, you can decide to adjust a particular sound. Maybe you want to use a sound but it's too long, you can adjust the sound, reduce it. You can do some other things concerning that sound. So that's it. So most importantly, if you are on code and sometimes you discover that you are not seeing this code block again, you are having this, all what you just need to do is to locate the code block and click on it, and you take you back to where you have these features, right? So that's it for the scratch screen layout. So hoping you understand this part, then we are good to go. So let's move to the next part.